It's kind of crazy to think that something this uncomfortable, this heartbreaking, was made by the same guys who did this.
Ooh, that's a hot mug, guy.
Hey guys, this is my review for Bring Her Back, the follow-up from the Rackaracka brothers. They killed it with Talk to Me. They did a phenomenal job with their first ever film. They took a lot of the horror elements and the stuff that they did in the first film, making people feel very uncomfortable, and then they made that even more uncomfortable, but they also took a little bit of a dramatic turn on this film in terms of grief and loss from a parent's perspective, and how that can affect both themselves, the people around them, and sometimes the lengths that they might go to deal with said grief, or in fact to avoid it entirely. The film follows Andy and Piper, these step siblings that lose their father, and they are forced into a foster situation with Sally Hawkins, who at first seems a little bit odd, kind of kooky, but you think that she's okay, you think that she's got some ideas, but the film doesn't really take long to show you, the viewer, that shit is weird, that she is up to something very weird. She definitely picked up the wrong VHS at Blockbuster or Aussie Buster or whatever the heck it would be over in Australia. She is looking into things that can help her, or at least she believes will help her deal with the grief and the loss of her daughter. And it gets weird and uncomfortable very, very fucking quickly. I'm amazed at actually how uncomfortable I felt in this film, and how that level of uncomfortable just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I'm not saying that as a negative. Hell no. That is definitely one of the best parts about this movie, is how much it will get under your skin. There are some, technically speaking, gory bits. There are bits involving teeth that I just like, gah! The funny thing is that this film brought in a word of wisdom that my mom told me when I was like 15 years old. And it's probably been one of the best criticisms of film I've ever heard in terms of Silence of the Lambs and Hannibal. Seeing less is more, because your imagination can do so much more than what gore and silly effects can sometimes do. Your imagination and your lacking seeing of what is happening is better to be filled in by the horror that your imagination can create. Not to say that there ain't some weird, creepy, gory shit in this film. There is. But the subtlety and the build-up to it in certain sequences is done so well that you're terrified. You're traumatized as much as these characters are. And I don't want to spoil anything, because if I do, I ruin the aspect for you. And trust me, you'll catch on to what's going on really fucking quick. The trailers actually did a somewhat good job of hiding shit, even though they showed a lot of shit. The first things I want to say is all the performances in this film are fantastic. Andy, Piper, Laura, played by Sally Hawkins. Sally Hawkins kills it. This woman has been rocking it ever since she fucked that merman. But the one actor I really definitely want to give credit to is the kid who played Oliver. This kid is asked to do some of the most fucked up shit. I can't fucking imagine what it must have been like to have the conversation with him and his parents in the room and saying, yeah, we're gonna make you do this and this and this and this and this. Regardless, Bring Her Back is a solid film. It has solid elements to it. It has really great gravitas to it. If there was one complaint I could possibly say, is that it is very whoa. There's a lot happening in this movie. There's a lot of elements that are seemingly chaotic, but I think it's part of the film to make you feel uncomfortable. If Talk to Me is a perfect outing, which I believe it is, it's a 7 out of 7 to me, Bring Her Back is near on perfect, if just a little bit at times. And I know that doesn't really sound like a criticism, but I don't feel like they didn't know how to get to the ending. I think they just felt like this is where it could have ended. And maybe it could have been a little bit better, but overall, I feel that Bring Her Back is another fantastic outing from these guys. I can't fucking wait for the third film. It's just nuts that these guys went from being these YouTubers to being some of the best horror film makers in the business. They're not being pretentious, they're not being chauvinistic, they're not being preachy or any of that shit. They're just giving you something that is terrifying but also relatable at the same time. And all props, all hands off to them. I can't wait for what's next. In the end, my rating for Bring Her Back is a 6 out of 7. It's a fantastic ride. It is very creepy. It is very terrifying. The performances are fantastic. And I really, really feel you should watch this if you're a horror fan. But those are my thoughts, guys. I'm curious to see what you have to say. Let me know in the comments below. If you like this movie, let me know. If you didn't, let me know. What do you guys think? What do you think of this film? Anyways, let's have a discussion. All right, guys. See you next time.